Welcome to Florence, Alabama and the NCAA Division II Football Championship. Tennessee's Carson Newman College and Northwest Missouri State have taken different roads to the title game, but today they realize a common dream to get to Florence and play for the national title. The triple option has been Carson Newman's ticket to the title game. In the Eagles semifinal win last week, Heath Hawkins exploded for 299 yards. Northwest Missouri State relies on the passing game and puts its trust in the arm and brain of quarterback Chris Carson. Behind Carson, the Bearcats average nearly 500 yards and 45 points per game. For the 13th consecutive year, Florence, Alabama is the backdrop for one of college football's final battles. The undefeated Bearcats of Northwest Missouri State take on one of the richest traditions in Carson Newman College. They are the Eagles. Hello, everybody. I'm Darren Horton along with Mike Godfrey. Pleasure to have you with us here at Brawley Stadium. There are no BCS standings to sift through. There are no Sacred ratings to consider. In Division II, they do it the old-fashioned way. 16 teams in a playoff, and they will take on each other, and they pare themselves down to two pretty good teams. Northwest Missouri State has a fantastic offense, rated #1 in all of Division II, and it's all because of their quarterback, Chris Carson.
Well, Darren, the weather conditions are going to challenge both these quarterbacks. Chris Carson, the quarterback for Northwest, is an excellent drop-back passer. Watching him before the ball game, he's got an excellent release. He's very accurate. Of course, he'll be challenged by this weather. He's thrown 36 touchdown passes, 16 interceptions. Carson Newman will try to get after him.
Carson Newman's quarterback is also the big story, but not because of his arm. Leonard Guyton has great legs.
Well, Leonard Guyton is more of an option quarterback. They live and die with the option, and he is 4-0 as a starter since taking over for Zach Allen. The big thing today, Darren, will be the fumbling situation. When you run an option in this kind of weather, they've committed 43 fumbles this year, lost 26.
And here you see the Northwest Missouri Bearcats taking the field. We'll be back with the kickoff. Back at Florence, Alabama, the weather has been horrible. For the last 3 days, plenty of rain. The temperature, 45 degrees. In the last 48 hours, we've had 5 inches of rain fall on the field. And for more on that, let's send it down to the third member of our crew, our Chris Marlowe.
Well, Darren, considering how much it's rained, the actual playing field is in pretty good shape. This is Purdue prescription turf. It is Bermuda grass set on top of peat moss, sand, and gravel. There's no dirt involved, so it won't get muddy. The water actually goes right through it. Now, you will see a lot of standing water on the sidelines, and there are 2 big pools like this right out in the center of the field, but generally the field is slick and playable. Now, how will the rain affect the teams? Northwest coach Mel Cherdsma is fairly confident. He's got a quarterback who has big hands. He's got receivers that know where they're going. They should be able to move the ball. Meanwhile, Ken Sparks of Carson Newman a little bit concerned, running the high-risk option. Mike told you about the 26 fumbles. The key today, generally, bottom line, hang on to the football. Darren?
Thank you, Chris. Carson Newman won the toss. They chose to defer, so Northwest Missouri State will start on offense as we take a look at Ken Sparks. Today happens to be his wedding anniversary, his 5th year in marriage. Wouldn't it be a nice way to celebrate with a victory in the national championship game?
It's a big ball game for both these teams, Darren. You're talking about national championship, and one decision's already been made. Ken Sparks had the choice of whether to take the football, and I think you always like in this weather condition to let the other team handle the football first.
Ryan Fleming will do the kickoff duties. Charlie Pugh, one of the receivers back for Northwest Missouri State, along with Tony Miles, the All-American. The fans are here regardless of the rain. Both of these schools looking for their first NCAA Division II title. The water spots on our lens, testament of the conditions that both these teams will have to play in. It's a short kick taken at the 35-yard line as we take a look at the Nike starting lineups. We told you about Grayson. Derek Lane is his main running option. He is also their best receiver out of the backfield. The receiving core is dangerous. Miles, 3 touchdowns last week. He is Grayson. Pardon me, he is Grayson's main target. On the line, it's Sherman Wilderness. He is the biggest and most naturally gifted, 308 pounds, and he can move. There you see Wilderness. Tucker Woolsey, the only running back in the backfield. 1st and 10, a little play action. Grayson's pass knocked, deflected at the line of scrimmage. As we take a look at the defensive lineman, on the line, it's Killings. He has the best numbers, but the coaches say Tim Croft has to play well for them to win. As for the linebackers, Dixon is a freshman, but he is the leader there. And Montre Ford leads in interceptions, tackles, and pass breakup, something that we talked about yesterday. You're seeing a lot more of your safeties leading in a lot of these categories. Both coaches don't know if that's necessarily good. 2nd down and 10 on the incomplete pass. The tight end shifting over. Very quick drop. Looking underneath, and there's a flag down on the play. He's looking for J.R. Hill. But Tony Martin was able to knock it down.
Yeah, Tony Martin, Darren, was all over J.R. Hill. Good coverage, tight coverage, but just makes contact with him too soon.
Donald Woodward is our referee today.
Good contact, but see, he holds on. He's got his left arm all over J.R. Hill.
Spot foul, automatic 1st down.
So they'll move the chains up to the 45-yard line, and that is where the Bearcats will start another series of downs. Grayson calling signals. He'll pitch it. It's Lane cutting up inside. Picks up maybe 3. Perhaps 4, depending upon the spot.
Darren, when you look at these kind of playing conditions, Chris Marlowe talked about the field's in pretty good shape, but the rain comes down. It's a cold day. It's most players' dream, most coaches' nightmare. This kind of playing conditions and a quarterback's nightmare can be. Watching Chris Grayson earlier in practice, a lot of balls were slipping out of his hand.
2nd and 6. They run a West Coast type offense. And Grayson with the long snap count. Quick drop again, complete to Martin, who's just shy of the 1st down at the 46.
Chris Grayson, when we talked to Ken Sparks, the head coach of Carson Newman, he said he's a great quarterback that's get rid of the ball into the receivers quicker than anybody we're used to. So their defense really has to challenge the wide receivers and make Chris Grayson throw these early short passes and put pressure on him from the outside linebacker position.
Yeah, they said yesterday they knew that the Bearcats are going to complete some passes, but they want to keep it underneath and not allow the long play to bust open.
Make them go the distance, Darren.
Play clock.
Make a mistake.
They hand it off to Lane again, and he's very close to another 1st down. Ike Curry makes the tackle.
I don't think he has this 1st down now. Ike Curry with a good stop to keep him from that chain. Now force a decision. They're going to punt the football.
Yeah, he doesn't have it.
But again, weather conditions, Darren, you want to punt the football and force Carson Newman inside the 10, 20-yard line and make their option offense make an early mistake.
Jeff LeBlanc on to kick it off. Wes Rumpf, the All-American, back at his own 10 to receive it. No pressure by the Eagles. The punt is low and spiraling, and it'll stop at around the 19-yard line as we take a look at the Carson Newman Nike starting lineups. They love to run it, and Heath Hawkins gets the bulk of the carries. He averages 8 yards per rush. When they throw it, it's number 7, the main target, Hughes Rump. He leads them in receptions. The offensive line is experienced. Alan Collis is a first-team all-conference player. First and 10 from the 19. They dive it up the middle. Pick up about 2 yards. Heath Hawkins ran the ball. As we take a look at the defense of Northwest Missouri State, on the line, Aaron Becker is the anchor. He leads the team in sacks with 7. Linebacker Aaron Crow is the team's leading tackler. They say he has a nose for the ball. In the secondary, Twan Young is their big play cornerback. You also see a lot of him on special teams. 2nd and 7, they pick up 3, and again they go to Hawkins up the middle. He picks up 4 more before Josh Knudsen makes the tackle.
Darren, Northwest Missouri, concern coming in this game was the big splits of the offensive line of Carson Newman and the alignment of the running backs. When you watch them, they're different than anybody I've seen all year. They're real tight to the quarterback, and they're on you quickly.
3rd down and 2. Here you see the splits that Mike Gottfried's talking about as they run the option. The freshman Guyton will keep it. He's got the first down before he's pulled down by Aaron Crow.
Good job by Leonard Guyton, the quarterback, as he goes down the line of scrimmage. You see the big splits. He's going to fake the football to the dive back. Now he's going to keep this ball all the way and just miss tackles. Finally, Aaron Crow with the tackle. But in this kind of weather, what you do when you're an option offense, you pre-call, whether it's a dive, and you don't read it as much in this weather.
1st and 10 from the 36. Guyton rolling, firing, and overthrowing. He does not have the strongest arm out of the quarterbacks.
Going back to what I was talking about there, Darren. A lot of times when you have a perfect day to run the option, you'll read it. You'll read the defensive lineman. The quarterback will know whether to give it, pull it out, run the option. But on this kind of day, I believe Ken Sparks will tell his quarterback ahead of time, this is the dive, give it, no matter what the read is. This is the option, you keep it and read on the outside because of the weather situation and the possibility of turning the ball over.
2nd down and 10. Tight end in motion is Loveday. Again, the option, they go to the dive back this time, Melvin Oates, and he stopped immediately, maybe a yard. Greg Bonnet, the man that made the stop.
Well, and the other thing is when you're an option offense and facing Chris Grayson on the other side, the best thing you can do is your offense run that time off that clock and keep the other offense on the sideline. And that's exactly what Leonard Guyton wants to do with his offensive football team, stay on the field and get a long drive.
Leonard Guyton, the freshman from Thomasville, Georgia, got his first start in the 11th game when their senior Zach Allen, who started all the previous games, was injured. Here we see Guyton rolling again, screen play. It's to Heath Hawkins. They love to run this up crossing the 50. He's got room to the 40 before Greg Wayne makes the tackle. A 28-yard run, catch and run by Heath Hawkins.
Well, Heath Hawkins is going to come over to this side right here to the left side. Leonard Guyton's going to sprint out. Hawkins is going to come right back here to set the screen up. Now good blocking by his offensive line and a good gain for Heath Hawkins.
Ball spotted at the 35. Wes Rump split to the far side, and they go up the middle. Pickup of a yard, maybe 2. Hawkins ran it.
Both these teams are the opposites when you decide on the play selection. When you look at Northwest Missouri State, they're going to throw the football more times, and they almost have a 50-50 balance. Carson Newman is a running football team. Make no mistake about that.
2nd and 7 for the Eagles. It's Guyton again, up the middle. Oates gets it. The dive back, and he's got another first down.
That's what happens Melvin Oaks is so tight in the big split that he gets through the offensive line before any defensive player can come to him. Finally, the tackle by Brian Williams. But the problem is, Darren, they split you out. If you split out with him, you create the hole. And then now and then you have to take and fire linebackers or bring defensive linemen down inside that big split. Big split is bothering Northwest Missouri right now.
That big split creates the running room for the Eagles. Here comes Guyton. He'll pitch it to Oates. Oates again with room as he skirts up the sideline before Daniel Keys pushes him out of bounds. He'll be just shy of a first down.
Nice block by Heath Hawkins, number 6. Carry the football. You do a great job when the ball's in your hand. When it's not in your hand, you're going to see Rump with a crack in number 6. Heath Hawkins with a nice block on the outside to spring Melvin Oates loose on the outside.
Second down and 2. This is the 10th play of this drive, 7 of which were runs. Here's Guyton again to the dive back, Heath Hawkins, but we've got a flag. Brian Williams made the tackle.
You know, when it comes from the referee behind the offensive backfield, it usually is movement in the backfield.
Donald Woodward is our referee today.
Motion against the offense. Repeat, second down.
I believe it was Heath Hawkins, number 6, just moved a little bit before the snap of the ball. See number 6 just starting just a little bit too soon, anticipating that starting count.
The Eagles have come out very impressive, marching right down the field. 2nd and 7, and Guyton keeps it up the middle. Becker makes the stop.
You talked about Leonard Guyton being a freshman out of Thomasville, Georgia. He's 4-0 as a starter. He's thrown 5 touchdown passes, but he's rushed for 139 yards. He played 3 state high school football championships. In his last 2 years in the high school was 30-0. So he knows how to win, and he has plugged in this offense. When I was talking to him yesterday at practice, he said, the coaches always told me I was 1 play away from getting in this football game in the option offense.
3rd down and 4. Guyton, option, keeps it, stopped. Aaron Becker, the junior from Omaha, makes the stop.
And he made a good decision talking about Leonard Guyton not to try to pitch this football. Aaron Becker gets inside the offensive guard on the backside, makes a tackle at the shoestrings of Leonard Guyton, but a smart move not pitching that ball out.
So now the Eagles will try to put 3 on the board. A 37-yard attempt by Ryan Fleming, who's 11 of 19 this year. Snap is high, kick is low and blocked. So a blocked field goal keeps this game scoreless. We'll be back with the Division II National Championship game. Welcome back to a soggy Florence, Alabama. We're still scoreless here in the first. What happened here, Mike?
Well, high snap, first of all. When you look at the high snap, and then Brian Williams, 49, and Tony Miles, number 10, both get a hand on it. Looks like just a low kick also. The snap really threw off everything.
Miles has great speed as Bryson goes to work on 1st and 10. Bryson feeling pressure, and he throws it away. We talked yesterday about how elusive he is back in that pocket. Matthew Burris, the guy who was harassing him.
Yeah, Burris got in, and then Tim Croft got in also from the nose guard position. And that's what Carson Newman's Jim Deaton, the defensive coordinator, they almost got the football. Number 25, Matthew Burris. Almost took it right out of Chris Greison's hands.
They call him Spanky. We see why on that play. 2nd and 10 on the incomplete pass. Lane and Woolsey are the running backs in the backfield. Man in motion is George, and they go up the middle to Woolsey. And Tucker Woolsey picks up a yard before the pack of blue jerseys brings him down to the turf.
The weather is an equalizer. In this regard, I think Northwest Missouri State look forward to a dry field. I think they feel they're the better football team. Carson Newman, a younger football team coming into this football game. This weather has evened this football game up.
They're not able to pass with confidence in this downpour. 3rd and 7. 5 wide receivers split out for the Bearcats. Grayson out of the gun. He's got time underneath, complete, but he won't have enough for the first down. It's Willie Cohen who caught it, but he is far shy of the first down.
I think when you see Northwest Missouri come back out on offense, I believe they'll go to the shotgun, no backs a little bit more. I saw some open receivers on that play, and Chris Grayson would like to come back to that kind of formation because he had a couple corner routes that were wide open.
Jeff LeBlanc on to kick it off. His first punt you saw there was 27 yards. Wes Rumpf back to receive it. He loses it. Now he picks it up. Crosses the 50. And the Eagles will have good field position when we come back. We're scoreless in Florence. And welcome back, Darren Horton, along with Mike Gottfried. We are scoreless in Florence, Alabama. We're watching the Division II National Championship game on ESPN2. Leonard Guyton to the dive back, who goes up the middle. It is Oates who rushes it. He's pulled down to the turf. Don't miss the Wendy's High School Heisman coming up tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 from the famous Downtown Athletic Club in New York City. The 5th High School Heisman will be awarded to the 1 male and 1 female athlete who best exemplifies scholar, athlete, citizen. The finalists were chosen from over 11,000 nominees, and it's all come down to the presentation tonight right here on the Deuce. 2nd and 7. Pick up of 3 yards, and they go to Heath Hawkins. But the ball is loose.
It's down. They're going to give it. It's down. Heath Hawkins was hit. Aaron Crow made the hit, but the ball came loose after he was down. Heath Hawkins, they've had problems fumbling all year. 43 fumbles. Looked like that ball was out.
So the Eagles might have caught a break on that one. They move the chains up, 3rd down and 3. Spotted at the 42. The Eagles, they have had the momentum in the early going as Loveday goes in motion. Again, it's to the dive back Heath Hawkins, but Aaron Crow made the stop.
We talked about how, Darren, you start to take those gaps, and that's exactly what Aaron Crow did. The big split, he took the gap, and there's no place to go. Forced him into a forced situation.
Scott Bostwick, the defensive coordinator, was very concerned about it. 4th down and 1, and apparently they are going to go for it. You see Scott.
It's a real tough call here because if you don't make it, you give up field position. Maybe they'll try to draw him offside.
Guyton with the long snap count.
They're lined up offside. First of all, they're going to get a break here, Darren, because Northwest Missouri lined up offside. I believe it was 93, Matt Vogue.
And Matt Vogie was in the neutral zone, and the Eagles' drive will continue.
Big break there because that's a tough situation when you have a 4th and 1. This kind of weather conditions, I think you punt the football and force them to play the long field.
Offside. Defense. First down.
Matt Vogie, number 93, lined up with his helmet. As you watch, when he gets settled, he doesn't look inside to check. His helmet's directly across that football, and that causes the first down for Carson Newman.
Spotted on the 37, and Guyton going back to work. Option, freeze option, steps back, looking upfield. Pass caught. Touchdown. Gervonnie Jackson, the junior from Fort Valley, Georgia, catches a 36-yard touchdown pass.
Darren, we talk about weather conditions. Greg Wayne lost his footing in the defensive backfield. He was getting ready to go up for that football and lost his footing. And Jackson with a touchdown pass.
We talked about the rain, how it has evened things out. Northwest came in with the more dominant team, but the rain has been the equalizer in the early going. They're going to run the option on the extra point attempt. Throw is nearly picked off, nearly deflected into the hands of an Eagles player. So it's a 6-point lead. The freshman, Leonard Guyton, connecting with Jarvani Jackson. Back in Florence, Alabama, 6-0 our score. The Eagles have struck first. The kickoff is short. It's Tony Miles at the 20. He tries to create space for himself. He's got a flag. Miles doesn't pick up much as he was running horizontally. Jason Slimp made the hit, but let's find out what happened on the play. So nothing going right in the early going. A holding penalty against Northwest.
Illegal block in the back. Going to return. First down.
Carson Newman has tried a field goal attempt and an extra point. Both snaps have been high. This is Keith Pruitt. Right here gets the high snap. Now you yell fire, fire, and your two receivers release, but they're too late as Tony Miles gets to Keith Pruitt, the backup quarterback, and causes the extra point to be no good.
So that marches them back to the 10. 5 wide receivers once again. Mike Godfrey, you talked about that quick pass. It's Miles skating and eluding and getting 9 yards on the play before Montre Ford makes the tackle.
I would come back right back with this offense because I looked at the way that Carson Newman tried to play this, and this is the best set I've seen so far for Northwest Missouri to get their receivers involved in the passing game. Corner routes, the bubble screen, which they just threw on the previous play.
2nd down and 1. 3 receivers this time. They'll pitch it to Lane. He's got the first down as he crosses the 25-yard line. Let's go down to Chris Marlowe.
You know, in most cases, going from a bad football team to a great football team takes time, but not for Mel Tjerdsma and Northwest Missouri State. In 1994, his first year, they went 0-11. The next year, improving to 6-5, then going 11-2, 12-1. This year, 14-0, and a chance to go undefeated. Mel Tjerdsma has brought enthusiasm to Maryville, Missouri, and he's 1 win away from winning his first national championship. Darren?
Thank you, Chris. 3-time Coach of the Year in the MIAA as Bryson calls the signals. Complete underneath to his tight end. He breaks away, crossing the 50-yard line. Mark Moss, what a play. A 26-yard completion.
Well, Mark Moss came into this football game with 27 catches for 325 yards. The big tight end, 6'2", 227, and really no one wraps up and tries to bring him down here. Michael Breedwood, number 9, finally makes the tackle.
It looked like one of his own players knocked him off the tackle. So for the first time today, the Bearcats are in Eagle territory at the 48 for Bryson. Little play action, eluding and spinning and rolling. Now he'll keep it.
Heady quarterback, nothing really open, decided to tuck it and pick up what he could. Ike Curry finally knocked him out of bounds.
Ike Curry, 71 tackles, 8 tackles for loss. Sophomore from Gaffney High School in South Carolina.
Supposed to go to Tennessee. His grandmother called Carson Newman's coaches and asked him to take him, which they were very pleased to do.
Had some academic problems, and that's why he ended up here at Carson Newman. Little handoff to the running back threat, Derek Ling, a senior from Atlantic, Iowa. Charles Huff makes the stop.
Going back to what Chris Marlowe was talking about, Mel Churchma taking over that program, going 0-11, he said it wasn't much fun driving around town. You wanted to hide a little bit being 0-11 because even though everybody still said, you know, we know you're going to turn it around, he felt badly about 0-11. He said now you can't go downtown enough because everybody wants to slap you on the back.
Right. Really had a good time visiting with him and the rest of the coaches. They're so excited to be here. 14 busloads of fans have made the trek here. A little play action again and again. The pressure is on Bryson, and down he will go. He was pushed down by Jason Slim.
He had Willie Cohen, number 9, running a post route. It was too deep a route for the protection that they had. And Jason Slimp was among many to get pressure on Chris Greisen.
So that'll be 3rd down and 11 when we come back as the clock runs out here in the first quarter. 6-0. The Eagles have the early lead. And welcome back. Darren Horton, Mike Gottfried, and Chris Marlowe as Jeff LeBlanc puts a foot into it. Ball rolling, and now Wes Rump picks it up. Now a fumble on the play, and it's recovered quickly by the Bearcats. It's Joe Quinlan who recovers it. David Carson forced the fumble.
Darren, that's 27 fumbles lost for the year, and only 1 loss. It's unbelievable. Quez Rump, David Carlson just puts his helmet right on the football and gets Quez Rump to cough it up. And now the Carson Newman defense has to really hold here.
That was one of the concerns of Ken Spark. He didn't want any turnovers. He wanted to prevent those big plays. But there is a big play that has now given
bad field position here.
Yeah, giving the Bearcats a shot in the arm as Greisen goes to work. High pass, caught underneath. Beautiful catch by J.R. Hill.
You like receivers that can adjust to the football. Really, Chris Greisen underthrew this football. J.R. Hill, 36 receptions for 5 touchdowns this year. He adjusts to that ball. It's like a wounded duck, but you see he keeps his eyes on that football. He had his arms underneath that ball. Not sure he made this catch or not, but J.R. Hill's going to get credit for it. 2 touchdown receptions versus Northern Colorado to get Northwest here.
Double tight end set for Greisen at the 8. First down, goal to go. It's Lane, up the lane, into the end zone, touchdown. An 8-yard touchdown run by Lane.
Well, you sometimes can be your own worst enemy. Control the game for the first quarter. You get a turnover. Quez Rump lays it on the ground. Derek Lane in the end zone for the tying score.
So the Bearcats can take the lead with a successful extra point. David Purnell on to attempt the PAT, a 2-play drive which went 22 yards. It's good. So the Bearcats have taken their first lead of the day thanks to a fumble by the Eagles. 7-6 is our score here in Florence, Alabama. Ricky Williams has surpassed the greats to become Division I's leading rusher, but can he follow in the footsteps of the greats Tony Dorsett, Herschel Walker, Charles White, and Archie Griffin, and take home college football's ultimate prize, the Heisman Trophy presentation show tonight on ESPN. That's coming up at 7:30.
It will not be a surprise.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, Ricky Williams has had a great year. Mac Brown, John Makovic, who coached him up until this season, and Mac Brown did a nice job having him perform for them. Cade McNown also has had a great year. Darren, I had him against Miami, and you could only ask a quarterback to do all he did in that ball game, and you expect to win that football contest.
There you see Ken Sparks. He has 5 NAIA titles, trying to get his first NCAA Division II title.
Well, they've got a rebound from that turnover. Wes Rump would like to have this football on this kickoff to get another shot.
David Burnell will kick it off for the Bearcats. It's Wes Rump. And Tony Martin back for the Eagles. They try to kick it to Martin, and what a beautiful bounce as it goes into the end zone. Martin was going to let it roll out of bounds, but it rolled right back into the end zone. Let's go down and check in with our Chris Marlowe.
Mike Gottfried, you've been talking about the Carson Newman line splits. Well, so has the Northwest defensive coordinator, Scott Boswick. He told his defensive unit each time they've come off to slow down your pursuit. He's concerned. He says, watch for the cutback on the dive play. That's the play that's killing the Northwest defense. So watch them slow down those line pursuits. Mike, Darren.
Thank you very much, Chris Marlowe.
They seem to have adjusted a little bit more the more series that they see this offense. Their concern was coming into the game the quickness with which Carson Newman runs their offense.
Fumble on the snap, and Guyton just took ahead and dove into the middle, picked up 2 yards. Last week against Slippery Rock, they had all kinds of problems with snaps. Coaches say they don't think it's a problem with Guyton, but it's just the nature of the offense. It's a lot of quick movement, a lot of quick snaps, and a lot of steps that they have to make very quickly, and there are going to be some problems from time to time.
You watch the quarterback, Darren, and he's always stepping into the offense or into the defensive line when he takes his first step.
Guyton steps back, fires, and he was being harassed by Adam Horn.
Number 91, Adam Horn, right in the face of Leonard Guyton. Nobody bought the fake on the option play. They haven't been able to establish the option because of the weather conditions, so no one really buys this fake by Leonard Guyton. And there's the pressure by Adam Horn. Really nothing open in the secondary anyway.
Adam Horn, one of the local kids from Maryville, where Northwest Missouri State is located. 3rd and 7. Guyton firing, nearly complete, but Brian Sutton put a helmet along with Greg Wayne.
Brian Sutton's an interesting story. We're going to listen to his hit. Brian Sutton wasn't planning on playing college football, but he said Coach Churchma was nice enough to ask me to play for Northwest. Now that's a great comment for a young man.
Mike Field on to kick it off, to punt it off, and Tony Martin will get the rolling ball from the 41. Here's Tony Miles, rather, scooting, still trying to find some space, and he doesn't get much. 7-6 is our score here in the second quarter at the Division II National Championship.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 1998 NCAA Division II Football Championship is brought to you by Prodigy Internet, who invite you to get on, get what you need, and go out and do something.
And welcome back. 1st down and 10 from the 41. Greisen with a little play action. Fires, complete to the tight end. Mark Moss made the catch. An 18-yard pickup, and the Bearcats are starting to feel it a little bit.
Well, Chris Greisen really makes the play with a good fake to Derek Lane, and it really held the linebackers so that Mark Moss could get behind the backers and in front of the safeties.
2nd
Here's a nice fake right here because it gets the linebackers to drag this way. Now Moss is going to come open right behind the linebackers for the easy throw and catch.
Man in motion, Ryan George as they hand off to Lane. We have a flag on the play.
It's offsides on Carson Newman.
As Donald Woodward makes the call. Coming up later on tonight on ESPN, college basketball. Number 2 Maryland takes on number 5 Kentucky. Defending national champions Kentucky are led by Wayne Turner and Scott Padgett. They would all love to repeat last year's success. Maryland, already a strong team, has added the exciting outside shooter junior Steve Francis. Action begins at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live from Lexington.
Darren, here's the formation right now that I think is going to give Carson Newman some problems.
The 5 splits out, and Greisen with that quick throw and pass, and that's Seneca Holmes who made the catch. He was a Harlan Hill finalist a year ago.
What happens on this formation, because all of a sudden Carson Newman can't get defensive backs in. You got some linebackers. You got 3 against 2 over here, but you got linebackers covering wide receivers. Seneca Holmes with a nice catch here, just on a stop route. Willie Cohen, number 9, gets a nice block, but that is a problem for Carson Newman anytime Northwest wants to get in that formation.
Chris Greisen, the senior from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. You see the dye from the NCAA logo all over his shirt. Quick drop again. Again, that time incomplete. Looking, I think it was deflected. It was looking for Junior Hill. If you take another look at that dye, rain is continuously coming down.
Another concern for Carson Newman is they said when they broke down the 3 tapes of Northwest Missouri's offense, they showed 57 formations. So that gives you a lot of problems matching up when you only look at 3 tapes.
2nd and 10. Fumbled snap. Ball is loose, and it looks like the Eagles have recovered it.
This is a big break for Carson Newman.
And they have. Cedric Killings came up with the ball.
Number 99, Cedric Killings. It looks like the ball never gets back up to Greisen. No, center just slipped out of his hands as he brought the ball back. Chris Greisen never had a chance for it. Number 99, Cedric Killings, is going to show his strength. This is why you work in the weight room right here, to try to pull that ball away from Derek Lane.
Steve Coppinger, he is their senior. He's going to the Snow Bowl, which is the Division II All-Star game, but you don't usually see that from him. Again, the weather playing a role as Guyton goes back to work. They again go up the middle to Oates, and he is stopped immediately by Brian Williams.
As you get into the second quarter, Darren, with the footballs in this kind of situation, the ball becomes wet and it becomes heavy. Now, I know they're alternating footballs in there, but I think they're only using 10 this first half. But the balls get heavy. Now, the umpire will try to cover as long as he can, but once he puts that ball down, it's going to get wet. In the center, Coppinger's hands just slipped off the football.
Yeah, and his hands might be wet. 2nd and 10. Option, pitch, it's Oates. Fumble on the play. And the Bearcats have it back. Greg Wayne caused the fumble.
Well, a couple things happen on this play. Melvin Oates gets the pitch, but I don't think Heath Hawkins attacked Greg Wayne quick enough. Greg Wayne gets a chance. That's number 6 here. He doesn't attack. And Greg Wayne gets a chance to make the hit on Melvin Oates and cause the fumble.
It was recovered by Josh Knudsen. We'll be back. 7-6, our score. Back in Brawley Stadium, Darren Horton along with Mike Gottfried and Chris Marlowe. What happened, Coach?
This should have been a play because you got 2 cracks right here. Now you got everything sealed inside. Now Heath Hawkins does not attack Greg Wayne fast enough to make the play. You got a seam there if Heath Hawkins would have gone on and made the block.
Bryson will go out of the gun. A little reverse. It's Tony Martin. He's got room. Crossing the 30. Inside the 20 as he goes out of bounds. Tony Miles picks up 16 yards.
Tony Miles is the big play receiver on this football team. Nice job handling the football, and a nice job by Tony Martin, number 5 defensively, just trying to buy time till he gets some defenders over here to help make the play. Jason Slimp finally on the tackle, but a good call.
Tony Miles, his all-purpose yards are outstanding.
He's got 15 touchdowns also this year.
And he'll block punts. He does everything as Bryson works around in the pocket, tries to complete another pass to Miles underneath.
Bryson's doing a nice job of moving around in the pocket. Jim Savoda, the offensive coordinator, said my office is his second home. But he's like Peyton Manning. They described him. He studies tape. There's Jim Savoda right here, the offensive coordinator. He studies tape like Peyton Manning. He wants to be a high school coach someday. So Jim Savoda and his quarterback, Chris Greisen, have a nice relationship.
He is 8 of 11 for 92 yards on the day. 2nd down and 5 as Miles goes in motion. Play action. He's got plenty of time. The wounded duck doesn't quite get to Cohen. Interesting, I had a chance to meet Greison's parents last night. After this trip to Florence, they will head out to Pasadena to the Rose Bowl, where their other son, Nick, is a freshman on the Wisconsin Badgers team. He's a linebacker.
You got to go a distance, don't they?
Yeah.
But they, and I think Chris Greisen is a quarterback that got hurt out of high school and had knee surgery. And reason Northwest Missouri got him to attend their school is because they told him they would redshirt him. They didn't care about the knee surgery.
A timeout called by the Bearcats. 7-6 is our score in the early going. Greisen will go to the sidelines and get it together. We'll be back. And welcome back to the Division II National Championship. Here on ESPN2, Darren Horton and Mike Gottfried and Chris Marlowe. 3rd down and 5. 5 wide receiver once again. Quick short pass. It's Miles inside the 10 into the end zone. A 12-yard touchdown run for Tony Miles.
Great block by J.R. Hill, number 5. Little bubble screen. And a touchdown, a quick throw by Chris Greisen. But J.R. Hill, the sophomore receiver, number 5, is going to make a big block right here. It opens it up for Tony Miles, the big play receiver, to get in the end zone.
The Bearcats with an opportunity to make it an 8-point lead as David Purnell comes on for the PAT. He's had 85 PAT opportunities this year and has converted on 78 of them as he puts another through the uprights. 14-6 is our score. A 34-yard drive after that fumble recovery.
Well, they've made him pay, Darren, both fumbles.
Well, Mike Gottfried, we want to remind you that coming up later on ESPN2, a college basketball doubleheader. First at 7 p.m. from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, it's UNC Charlotte taking on the number 6 Tar Heels. Then at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Michigan takes on number 3 Duke from Durham, North Carolina. A hot night of basketball in North Carolina coming up later on the Deuce.
So Melvin Oates is going to fumble this football. And again, Heath Hawkins not attacking Wayne, the defensive back, caused a fumble, and both fumbles have turned into touchdown scores for Northwest Missouri.
Let's check in with Chris Marlowe.
All right, when Melvin Oates came off after that last fumble, offensive coordinator Mike Turner told him to take off your gloves, dry them, and then dry your hands, and make sure when you're running through traffic to keep 2 hands on the football. It's raining as hard now as it has all day, so obviously for Carson Newman, hanging on to the football, big priority. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Chris. You know, Mike Turner, their offensive line coach, he calls the plays on offense with the help of the quarterback coach.
That's 28 fumbles they've lost this year. Now, I know they've got a high-risk offense, but that's far too many fumbles.
Here's Tony Martin from the 5. Dancing up the right side, gets to the 25 before Charlie Pugh brings him down.
It's maybe too early to think in terms of Zach Allen, but the injured quarterback that got hurt his knee in the Lenore-Rhine game, but he's probably a better passer than Leonard Guyton, so we may look to see him. Again, the 2 turnovers to 14 points. But we'll see what they do with Leonard Guyton on this series.
Zach Allen has an ACL problem, which is recovered. He can go north and south, but has a problem with lateral movement as Quez Rump goes in motion. They go to the dive back. Keith Hawkins, and he's gang tackled.
As
Josh Knutson, the man there. Sorry about that.
Excuse me, as Chris Marlowe was talking about the adjustment that Northwest Missouri's made on defense now, they're taking a little bit more of the gap. They're a little slower pursuing for the cutback, and they seem to have this offense in control right now.
The faucet is on.
Oh, it
full
ran
force.
Sideways.
2nd down and 9. Hawkins, 18 yards on 6 carries as the running backs step up. And this Deer offense, again, they try to dive back, and again, the Bearcats are there.
Well, Heath Hawkins really has nowhere. There's the big gap right here. Now it's a tight split right here, but you can see the defensive lineman taking the gap, and the outside defensive end, Knutson, taking his gap.
Mike, you almost wonder if the gaps don't kind of give away the running space. You know, I mean, you're telling the defense, hey, we're going to run over here.
Sometimes what you do on the backside, you adjust your split and try to throw them off a little bit. But right now, Carson Newman has no offense.
Oates is still on his feet. He broke a bunch of tackles as he crosses the 50-yard line. Brian Sutton finally had to bring him down. A 21-yard run.
And he had to do it all on his own, but he did pick up a block by Quez Rump, number 7, the wide receiver on the outside. We'll see if we can pick up Rump's block, but Melvin Oates is going to just make this all on his own. He gets hit right here by Aaron Crow, just spins. There's the block by Rump on the outside. May give life to this offense.
You really have to wrap up in this rain.
Melvin Oates, 10 touchdowns this year, gained 884 yards rushing.
Part of that Peach County connection as they hand it off to Aaron Crow. Check that tackle made in the backfield by Bogey. That was Quez Rump that actually ran the ball.
Yeah, it took too long for the play to develop. Quez Rump coming around. Now, he had an option on that, whether to run the football or even option it, but chose to keep the football in good pursuit by Matt Bogey.
A loss of 6 yards on the play.
You're going to see this play now. Here it sets up as an option. He can pitch this ball right here, but he decides to keep it, and you can see the pursuit of Northwest Missouri.
2nd down and 16. Guyton checking off. Again, they try the dive back, but the play clock is at 0.
I think he made a good call here. Quez Rump makes a timeout call. He's a wide receiver, and he saw it was down to 1 second, although I think they'd have got that play off. He may have saved the play.
Smart play by the junior from Fort Valley. 14-6 is our score. The Bearcats in the lead. Welcome back to Florence, Alabama. 2nd and 16 as Leonard Guyton rolls, feeling pressure, and Brian Williams rides him down to the soggy turf.
Brian Williams this year has He's 104 tackles. He's recovered 3 fumbles. He comes from the left side, and Leonard Guyton never had a chance to get this football off. Good pursuit by the outside linebacker, 6'2", 235-pound sophomore.
They lose 10 on the play, make it 3rd and 26. Great play by Williams. Guyton will run the option. They lose it, and Guyton lands on the ball, and they'll have to punt it. Let's send things down to Chris Marlowe.
You know, interestingly, Darren, I talked to Carson Newman head coach Ken Sparks right before kickoff, and he told me that Carson Newman had not played or practiced at all in any rainy conditions this entire season. Might be one of the reasons they're having trouble adjusting to this monsoon. Back to you.
Yeah, last week against Slippery Rock, there was a little miss, but nothing like this.
Northwest will pressure this punt. They're a good punt blocking team. They blocked 4.
Mike Fields gets it off. It's a high punt. And Miles will just let it go and rolls back to the 27. We want to remind you, coming up next Saturday on ESPN2, it's the Las Vegas Bowl, where the San Diego State Aztecs will battle the North Carolina Tar Heels. The Aztecs are armed with quarterback Brian Russell and running backs Jonas Lewis and Larry Ned. Tar Heels are led by quarterback Oscar Davenport, who can run and throw. And on the defensive side, all ACC defensive back Dre Bly, who is the all-time ACC interception leader. It all begins at 6 p.m. Eastern. You won't want to miss it. Bowl season here.
Yeah, after a shaky start, Carl Torbush, who's a graduate of Carson Newman and has endowed his scholarship for this program, has his team in great shape. Ron Case, his defensive backfield coach, also a former coach here.
Tons of coaches come from this program, as we see Grayson doing something we haven't seen him do all day. Running the ball up the field, pickup of 8 yards as Matthew Burris pushed him out of bounds.
You look at Carson Newman's coaches that have come out of this program. Of course, Dean X. Bible, the great coach, Dal Sheely, who's now head of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He was the head coach here. Ron Case is the secondary coach at North Carolina. Carl Torbush, the head coach at North Carolina. And Sparky Woods, former head coach at South Carolina, and now the offensive coordinator of Virginia. So a lot of legacy here of coaches and players that have gone on.
They were the dynasty in the 80s, winning all kinds of NAIA award titles up the middle for first down. As we take a look at what Carson Newman is trying to get accomplished on the sidelines, you see Lane.
You can see the good blocking up in front, the offensive line. Coppinger with a nice block. Chad Thompson, number 72. Sherman Wilderness, number 69, with a nice block. And we're talking about Carson Newman as a total yards. Now Northwest taking advantage of that. They had 23 seniors last year. They expected to be here last year. They lost by 1 point to Northern Colorado. This year they're a young football team.
Bryson has plenty of time, fires across the middle, and complete to Miles.
Tony Miles just continues to make big play after big play. Came into this ball game with 76 catches, 15 touchdowns. He's just finding a hole in the zone. Linebackers running by him, and he sits down, makes that catch from Chris Grayson.
He is a co-sided Daktronics All-American nominee. They pick up the first down on the play. Miles, 43 yards and a touchdown in receiving, 5 catches. And you see the average of 8.6, so he's picking up a chunk of yardage every time he touches the ball. Quick pass deflected, looking for Miles once again, but Cedric Killings got one of those big paws up there and knocked it down.
The coaches talked about him at Cedric Killings. They said he needs a push upfield, and he gets a push upfield, and he uses his 6'3" frame to get his hands up and knock that screen pass down.
6'3" senior, 315 pounds, out of Miami, Florida, went to Central High School.
And Carson Newman, Ken Sparks, said that he feels like the NFL people will take a close look at Cedric when the season's over.
He started every year since a freshman, been a all-conference player every year. sides, and flags come wailing away.
Sometimes when you get a blitz like this, Jason Slimp, number 3, is coming, you'll get an offensive line to move. See if they've got Sherman Wilderness jumping a little bit or whether they're offsides.
Upside. Defense. First.
What you do, Darren, you try to time up the cadence of the quarterback, and Jason Slimp, number 3, got in there just a little bit too far.
Mel Churchman, his 5th year. Man, what a job he has done.
2nd and 5, just inside the 45.
Doesn't have all the money of the big-time Division I schools. 36 scholarships to work with. And they stretch it and they make it happen. 4 wideouts for Grayson. Play clock down to 3. Quick pass underneath, complete once again. Miles makes the reception. A 7-yard pickup, and Burris is the guy who brought him down.
Well, you talk about Mel Churchman, 36 scholarships, and he's turned that into about 74 or 75 players getting some kind of aid in his program. Now they get some grant money and some academic money also, but he tries to help as many football players with partial scholarships as he can. And he said this year, after the season's over and he loses his players, he'll bump up some of the other players that are on the team to maybe a half scholarship.
Here's Grayson rolling again, stepping up, firing, and completing again to Miles. And he's got another first down.
You have to be impressed with Chris Grayson. He's just a cool customer at the quarterback position. Rolls to his left and finds Tony Miles. He also had J.R. Hill down the football field on a post pattern. J.R. Hill was wide open, number 5, running the post. But Chris Grayson was rolling to the left, which shrinks the field a little bit when you're rolling to the left side and you're reading 2 receivers.
He's 12 of 17 for 135 yards and a touchdown. First down and 10 from the 25. Out of the gun as Grayson rolls again. Feeling pressure. Completing. Was he in bounds? No. Lane caught it, but he was not in bounds.
Really, again, I can't tell you how tough it is to throw in these weather conditions, and I'm impressed with Chris Grayson as he continues to throw the football, keep his hands dry, and I really believe some NFL teams will take a close look at him. He's 6'4", he's 225 pounds, he's got an excellent release, and I think you'll see him in a camp next year, and he possibly could get drafted because I think he has good accuracy, he's good command of this offense. He's a 3/8 student, so he's got everything you need in a quarterback.
2nd and 10 on the incomplete pass. Again out of the gun is Grayson. Plenty of time. Again across the middle, nearly picked off by Jason Slimp. He was looking for Ryan George.
Well, you got to make those plays. Jason Slimp had his hands on this football. I think it took off a little bit. Chris Grayson, as he throws this football, slips out of his hands and goes a little higher than he would like to have it. Number 3 is going to get a shot at it. Jason Slimp, but can't bring it in.
2 minutes to go in the first half. The Bearcats of Northwest Missouri State trying to add to their 8-point lead.
And the Bearcats are looking at 2 downs here to pick this first down up.
Look at this third down conversion percentage. 49% on third down. And Carson Newman's going to blitz, but it's picked up as Grayson rolls. Nobody open downfield, and he's tackled as he goes out of bounds by Portland Stiles.
Well, let's see if Mel Churchman will decide to take another shot at this, or he's going to kick the field goal. I think he's going to bring in his field goal kicker, David Purnell.
David Purnell, his range 9 of 14 from field goals, a leading scorer on the team with 105 points. They say his range is around 40 to 45 yards. This one will be a 42-yard attempt.
He'll be challenged on this distance with these weather conditions.
The rain is a little lighter. Purnell gets a foot into it. And it is good. A 42-yard field goal gives the Bearcats an 11-point lead.
Big kick by David Purnell. David Purnell, just before this team went into the locker room, before they came out, he went up to every player on the football team and shook their hand. David Purnell, very well-liked team. His enthusiasm, very well-liked player. Players are excited for David Purnell.
You know, this isn't the first appearance for Carson Newman. They were here 2 years ago in the championship game. In '96, they played Northern Colorado. They trailed by 3 at the half, but had all kinds of problems in the second half. Zach Allen, their quarterback at the time, who's the senior now, who's injured, had 5 turnovers in the second half on all 5 of their possessions. And suffice to say, they went on to lose it 23-14 in that game. But as we mentioned before, they have a slew of NAIA titles to their credit.
I had that game along with Ron Franklin, Joe Glenn, the very successful football coach of Northern Colorado. And you talk about Florence Jinx, their seasons have ended unsuccessfully here in Florence, Alabama.
Trying to break that string today as David Purnell gets set to kick it off. It's Tony Martin at the 15. Gets up inside the 30 before he's pulled down by Brian Williams.
Tough thing now for this offense of Carson Newman is when you're a Veer offensive football team and you need to start throwing the football, although it's not time to sell your game plan out because you can still get back in with your offense, but you got to throw a little bit more. When you get behind, it's a little more difficult for Leonard Guyton.
Be sure to stay with us at halftime. ESPN News will provide you with all the latest signings in baseball. The Dodgers making a big announcement today. All that coming up in 1 minute and 3 seconds. Oates in motion for the freshman Guyton. He rolls out. Time, looking upfield. Has a man. Caught. Grant Cockrell reeled it in.
Well, that ball was thrown very well by Leonard Guyton. Grant Cockrell, number 82, really does a good job of shielding off Twan Young, number 23, to make that catch.
A 42-yard catch, and now the Eagles have the ball at the 30-yard line with 55 ticks left.
They still have 2 timeouts, so there's a lot of time for Carson Newman.
1st and 10 from the 30. And they'll call a timeout as Guyton didn't like what he saw. How important is it to get some points on the board at this stage of the game, Coach?
Big, especially for a freshman quarterback to get something good to happen here. But that catch by Grant Cockrell really gives you a chance. And you can see Twan Young hanging all over him. But the good concentration by Grant Cockrell to make that catch inside the 30-yard line to give you a chance to get some points on the board. You look at that average, 37.7 of his catches, so he makes big catches.
Ken Sparks trying to celebrate his 5th wedding anniversary with a national championship.
Outstanding guy. Outstanding coaching staff. They keep winning at Carson Newman, a very good academic institution. Billy Mitchell, the linebacker coach, the assistant head coach, the whole staff, just class people.
Ken Sparks went to Carson Newman himself, graduated in '68. Guyton, quick drop, again going up top. Overthrew his man, looking for Quez Rumpf.
Just threw it too far. Leonard Guyton, Western Kentucky, Albany State, recruiting him out of Thomasville, Georgia. Talked about all he knows how to do is win. 30-0 his last 2 years. Thomasville High School, which puts out so many prospects across the country.
The seniors said when he came in after their senior quarterback, Zach Allen, went down. The seniors in the huddle said he was cooler than us.
Yeah, he was the coolest guy in the huddle. Both wide receivers came out and said, don't worry about him, Coach.
2nd and 10 from the 30. Leonard Guyton feeling a little pressure. Looks like he was trying to set up a screen play. But the Bearcats all over it as a flag comes down.
Probably be an illegal lineman downfield because it took so long. That's what it is, an eligible receiver downfield. Because when he threw the football, he threw it downfield. If he'd have thrown the ball behind the line of scrimmage, he'd have been all right. Let's see if we can pick up the lineman going downfield. Right here. Lineman downfield, and because number 7, Aaron Crow, played that screen. And water in his mic.
Donald Woodward trying to inform us through the rain.
A nice job by Aaron Crow. An outstanding job by the linebacker. Jim Sloboda, the defense coordinator, says a knack of being where the ball is.
Second team All-American a year ago was Crow. 2nd and 15, they'll run that option. Pitching it out of the backfield. It's Hawkins who has it. With the Bearcats all over it. Aaron Crow, the man we've been mentioning his name all day.
Well, he makes plays out of his middle linebacker position. Came into this game with 126 tackles. And you can see he just chases down Heath Hawkins and makes that play on the option.
We have a timeout. Final timeout by Carson Newman. Hawkins, who had a big week last week, held to 23 yards today on 8 carries.
Northwest had some problems early in the ball game adjusting to the line splits, but they have everything under control right now. Darren, you got 3rd down and 14. You got 16 seconds to go. You've got to throw to the end zone here because you've spent all your timeouts. Leonard Guyton used a timeout a little bit ago, and now they've spent their last timeout. So they got one shot to throw this ball in the end zone.
We talked about Guyton. He's not the most accurate of their quarterbacks. Zach Allen could play, but it looks like they're going to ride the freshman.
Yeah, and they've had problems running the football in the first half. Give credit to Northwest defensively, only 61 yards. And you can see what they're averaging, 299. 4th in Division II. They have not been able to establish the run.
3rd and 14 from the 34. Guyton will drop straight back, feeling pressure. He is hit. A flag comes down. Alan Buckwater, the man who hit him.
Well, it's a holding call, which is going to take them further back. If Mel Churchman decides to take it, or do you let him get another shot? I think I'd take the penalty and move him back one more shot.
11 seconds left.
Make him go as far as you have to go. And that's what they're going to do. Because of the time, there's no sense in turning this down.
Hold it. Get the offense. Repeat 3rd down.
I like his enthusiasm, calling those penalties.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime is ESPN News. All the college basketball, baseball signings.
Darren, 6 penalties, 2 fumbles. That's the reason the score is 17-6.
Oates, the man in motion. Guyton rolls, stepping up, firing deep. Nearly caught again by Cockrell. Twan Young this time getting the job done, knocking it down. But they'll get another shot at it.
Yeah, they're going to have one more play. Twan Young again hooking up with Grant Cockrell. Good coverage. Uses his right hand to deflect the football away from Grant Cockrell. So we got one more shot to go to the end zone.
Guyton, he's got a strong enough arm to get it there.
He's been impressive in the first half throwing the football. As we said, they haven't been able to establish a run, which means your play-action passing game's not very good. So you become a drop-back team, which is not what Leonard Guyton does best.
4th down and 32, and they're going to the end zone once again. This one's picked off by Daniel Keys, and now first half is over. So Daniel Keys picks one off to close out the first half. Tony Miles, the hero in the early going. His Bearcats have a 17-6 lead here in the NCAA Division II National Championship game.
Postseason play. We need to take a break here on ESPN News. You're at the half of Northwest Missouri and Carson Newman. Stay with us.
Back in Florence, Alabama, Darren Horton, Mike Gottfried, and Chris Marlowe. 17-6 is our score. Northwest Missouri, they are leading Carson Newman. Don't forget, coming up, the Heisman Trophy presentation show. That's tonight on ESPN at 7:30. Tim Couch, Michael Bishop, Cade McNown, Ricky Williams, your 4 candidates. We don't anticipate much of a surprise, but it certainly should be a great show. Please join us tonight on ESPN. We'll be back with the first half highlights right after this. And welcome back to Brawley Stadium in Florence, Alabama. 17-6 is our score in the Division II NCAA championship game. Darren Horton along with Mike Gottfried. We talked about it before the game. Turnovers for Carson Newman. They came in with 26 fumbles. It was key to not fumble today, and they haven't been able to do that.
Well, Darren, now they're 28, and the 2 really cost them because Northwest is, I believe, a better football team. And when you get in this kind of situation, the weather, Quez Rump picks up this punt, and he starts upfield, and it looked like a great decision, but then he coughed it up, and that led to a touchdown. Then Oates is carrying the football. Hawkins doesn't get the block on Wayne for him. He coughs it up, and that sets up this pass to Tony Miles with a good block by Hill, number 6, and Miles is in the end zone. So the turnovers by Carson Newman has just cost him dearly.
17-6. We'll be back right after this. And back in Florence, Alabama, Darren Horton, Mike Gottfried, and Chris Marlowe. 17-6 is our score. The Bearcats of Northwest Missouri State have the lead as we take a look at the halftime statistics. Again, not only the turnovers, but the points off of turnovers, which really stick out, Mike Gottfried.
And I think the other thing is the rushing yards right here, 61. Because when you're a Veer offensive football team, you can't run the football. You can't set up everything else in your offense. Turnovers are the big key, right here.
Let's check in with Chris Marlowe, who's down in all this soggy rain.
All right, thanks, Darren. I talked with both coaches at halftime. Mel Churchma very, very happy with his defense. He told me we're going to keep throwing the ball as long as it's dry. And he told me and told his team 30 more minutes. That's their goal. Meanwhile, Ken Sparks, obviously his biggest concern was the fumbles. He told me we've got to get better care of the ball. Defensively, he said we've got to stop dropping interceptions and tackle better. One more thing, I asked him if he thought about bringing in senior quarterback Zach Allen, and he said, not yet. Back to you.
Ken Sparks trying to change things around from the last championship game that they had. The last second half, we saw a little bit of it earlier. All the turnovers that they had in that game, they've already got 3 today.
And Chris Marlowe brings up a good point because do you go to your senior quarterback, Zach Allen, and when do you make that decision? I don't think that Leonard Guyton he's played well in the first half, so you've got to give him a shot. But your more experienced quarterback is number 2, Zach Allen, who the senior who hurt his knee in the Lenore-Rhine game, played last week in the final play. Coaches talked about he wouldn't accept his injury, and he wants to play in this ball game.
Interesting story. 2 years ago in the playoffs versus Cal Davis, their starting quarterback at that time, Matt Penland, went down. Zach Allen came in and led the Eagles to a 29-26 win. Earlier this year, of course, we told you about Zach Allen going down. And it's just kind of history repeating itself with Leonard Guyton coming in. He, of course, led them to a victory in a very important game that allowed them to get into the playoffs. And you see Allen. They say he can run north and south, but he has problem with the lateral movement.
And they feel like he's a better passer than Leonard Guyton, and they may need the throwing game here to get him back in this ball game.
As the kickoff is caught by Tony Martin, who crosses the 25 before Curtis Stewart brings him down. And here comes the freshman, Leonard Guyton.
Number 5.
It's deplorable weather.
We had a chance to visit with Leonard yesterday. Very quiet kid, one of those quiet leaders, does it by example.
Yeah, he just he talked about the players saying he's cool in the huddle, and I asked him about this game. Was he nervous for this game? He says no. He said, my focus is on winning this football game. He said, I've been in big games in high school.
Wes Rump along with Giovanni Jackson split out at the bottom of your screen. And they give it to the dive back up the middle. It's Oates, Melvin Oates, the junior from Fort Valley, Georgia. One of 3 players on this offense from Peach County High School.
Alan Buckwalter met him right in the hole, and not much of a gain, 2 yards.
Bogey also there. They pick up 2, 2nd and 8.
And they're in the area of the field. I think this area where they're at right now, Carson Newman, is probably the slickest area. It looks like the water is a little bit more of a problem than off to the sides of the field.
You see the little puddle. The field is starting to wear down. It was in excellent shape a couple of days ago, but the rain has just worn it down as the play clock reaches 0, but we have a timeout taken by Carson Newman. Flag is on the play. Did they call it in time?
Yeah, I think they've got to delay a game, and let's see if they no, they may have gotten the timeout.
Chris Marlowe, what do you have for us?
Well, Darren, Northwest linebacker Wes Simmons has been motivated all season by a memory. That memory of his 22-year-old brother Jason, who died in a head-on car crash last spring. Now, ironically, according to the coaching staff, that tragedy united the Bearcats, creating a common bond and actually brought the team closer together. Wes Simmons has dedicated this title game to his brother, Jason, who is gone but not forgotten. Darren?
Certainly not. He has lived on through the life of this Northwest Missouri football team. Remember, we were talking to the coaches yesterday, and they said there was an article in one of the local papers in Maryville. All the players read it, and they started to cry, and they were really motivated to get this accomplished for Wes Simmons. 2nd down and 8. The ball spotted on the 30-yard line. The freshman again to the dive back, and he is met. He hawked it, blasted by Aaron Crow.
And Darren, just to add to what Chris Marlowe was talking about, the coaches, when we talked to them the other day, Mel Churchman, we asked them, did you expect to be here? And they said they had this expectation because in '96, Northern Colorado beat them by 1. '97, in a rainstorm, they turned the ball over 6 times. Northern Colorado beat them again. But they had T-shirts made. The quarterback, Chris Grayson, Florence or bust.
And in motion is Wes Rump. Guyton will roll. Complete to Giovanni Jackson. Did he fumble it? No, they say it's incomplete. Greg Wayne again. We've seen Wayne making some plays today, putting a helmet on the ball.
Greg Wayne really makes a nice play, and you're right. He has made some big plays in this football game. He just punched it out of Giovanni Jackson.
Mike Field will come on for the punt. And Tony Miles will stand back at his own 35-yard line as the rain continues to fall here in Florence. He bobbles the snap, but he gets off a pretty decent punt. The main thing is you didn't want Tony Miles to return it, so it goes out of bounds at the 40, and that's where we will see the Bearcats go on their first offensive series.
And it's a good thing Northwest has a punt return on here, because here's the snap. and it's bobbled, but Northwest right now has got a return on. Lucky for Mike Field.
Yeah, he had plenty of time. So they'll spot it at the 42nd yard line. And that's where Greisen will go to work. Miles going in motion. Handoff. Lane. Up the middle for 3.
Lane up the middle.
Tim Croft made the stop.
Well, Northwest is just doing enough in the running game to keep the defense of Carson Newman honest, because they've thrown very well in the first half, and I think the second half, Chris Greisen's job will be to throw the football and to get this Northwest team in the end zone a couple times and put this game away.
If you're Mel Churchman, do you want to keep it on the ground, work the clock a little bit at this point?
I want to throw the football. I want Chris Greisen to handle it, throw it as much as he can.
Play action for Greisen. He has time, looking for Miles, but incomplete.
Good coverage. Marcus Early, the junior, on Tony Miles. He had him blanketed.
Busloads of fans have traveled 715 miles from Maryville, Missouri.
And they've stood the whole game.
It's an 11-hour trip, and they've been standing the entire game.
And they were up all night, too, because they were in our hotel.
It was pretty loud last night. 3rd down and 7. Told you earlier about their great completion rate on 3rd down, and again it's Miles. Look how he eludes the tackler at the 50 and gets first down yardage at the 45. He is so elusive.
He did that all on his own. He got the little flat pass from Chris Greisen, but he sidesteps defenders, and again he's had 15 touchdowns this year. He's been a big play receiver, unanimous all-conference selection as a sophomore. Makes that catch with good concentration, and Ike Curry kind of slides by him, and he picks up the first down.
8 catches, 71 yards, and that touchdown. Last week he scored 3 touchdowns in the win over Texas A&M Kingsport. As Greisen runs the option himself. Not very pretty, but effective as he picks up a nice chunk of yardage. Tim Croft brought him to the turf. He's not exactly fleet of foot.
No, Jim Swoboda again does. The offensive coordinator asks Chris Greisen to do a lot of things. Here he runs the option. Again, a lot of formations, putting pressure on this Carson Newman defense.
Jim Swoboda, his 4th year with Mel Churchma. He was a head coach himself at Nebraska Wesleyan. 2nd down and 4 for Greisen. That 5 wide receiver set once again. Quick hit underneath to Seneca Holmes. A 7-yard pickup.
Again, what happens when they go to a no-back set is they get a linebacker, Matthew Burris. First of all, we're going to see the pressure coming from the outside. Ike Curry, again, hitting Chris Greisen. But when you go to a no-back set and you can't substitute, Matthew Burris, a linebacker, has to get lined up on a wide receiver, and that's the matchup that Chris Greisen continues to go to.
Chris Greisen had a nice bit of paint on his helmet from getting driven into the turf as Lane goes up the middle and picks up 8 yards. Thomas Dixon there to make the stop.
And now you see the rhythm of an offense taking charge. Now they've got good mix now. Every now and then a running play, and their offensive line gets a chance to come off the line of scrimmage and really block physically. Then you've got the passing game of Chris Greisen.
Look at that jersey.
He's lost the back of his jersey, but he has been effective in this weather.
His playoff numbers are remarkably higher than his regular season numbers, which doesn't seem possible because his regular season numbers are so outstanding. That pass incomplete.
Tim Croft. Tim Croft did a nice job. He's the #1 ranked heavyweight wrestler last year. He signed with Arizona out of high school, but snafu in his grades. He didn't get in. He went to junior college, signed with Arizona State, and had another problem. Didn't get in there. So ended up at Carson Newman, and they're very happy, Ken Sparks, that Tim Croft decided to come from Phoenix.
They feel like he will get a look in somebody's camp in the NFL. 3rd and 3 out of the gun. Bryson stepping up, going deep. He's got a man. Touchdown. J.R. Hill made the catch. A 25-yard touchdown catch.
Anytime, Darren, they go to that formation, it has not been able to be stopped this entire ball game. Number 5 right here. It's 4-on-2 on the outside. J.R. Hill breaks on the outside. No one covering him. Wide open down the field. Chris Bryson finds him. And again, a problem of that formation. Carson Newman has not been able to handle it.
David Purnell on to kick the extra point. It is up, and it is good. 24-6. And the senior from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, celebrates his touchdown pass. 24-6, Northwest Missouri State taking control. Wes Rump back with Tony Martin. Rump has it at the 12. He's got some room as he crosses the 35. There he is stopped by Seneca Holmes. The touchdown again out of one of those 57 different formations that Carson Newman said they saw on the film.
I think that they felt like it was going to be the bubble screen, but J.R. Hill is going to hit the post, and they just don't have it defended well enough here. And they had to be a bust there because there's nobody over the top of the 3 receivers. And J.R. Hill for the touchdown. Jim Deaton seeing a lot of formations. He's an excellent defensive coordinator and has his football team fundamentally sound. But they had a bust on that play.
And now they're going to have to get something done. There's a fumble on the snap. Picked up by Melvin Oates. He tried to make something out of nothing.
Leonard Guyton, I think, fumbled the snap. And Melvin Oates picked the ball up and ran with it.
Now remember, Carson Newman can come back from big leads. Earlier this year, they were down by 29 at halftime of a game and came back and won. That was against Edinburgh. So they are capable of doing it.
Well, they lost their first game. They were down second half, and they thought they were heading for an 0-11 season, but they quickly picked it up.
It's Oates again, blasting ahead, picking up 6 yards on the play. Knutson makes the tackle. Let's go down to Chris Marlowe.
All right, in case you're wondering why Northwest defensive coordinator Scott Bostwick wears that red baseball cap, it's for identification. A couple of years ago, the Bearcats were on the road in Nebraska. They were facing the no-huddle offense, Emporia State. Defensive unit was having trouble picking Bostwick out on the sidelines. They couldn't see him. Frustrated, Bostwick grabbed a red hat off the head of his nephew, who was pulling headset cable from him. From then on, they had no problem. He's there, red hat and all. And that red hat has a very good record. Darren?
Certainly does. 14-0 as another snap is fumbled by the freshman Guyton. What's going on, Mike?
Just not getting the football. It's 2 out of 3 snaps, the last snaps that have not got up to Leonard Guyton. Quarterback, as you see the snap balls, just as a center brings it up. Dan Turner, he's got it turned, and it's hitting the hands of Leonard Guyton the wrong way. And I think eventually we're going to see Zach Allen come into this football game.
Carson
That's
Newman.
not Leonard Guyton's fault, but I think they need more of a passing game if they're going to get back in this football game.
Carson Newman has had 5 fumbles. They've lost 2 of them. As Mike Field gets it off, we've got a flag down as the fair catch was signaled by Seneca Holmes. But the flag is on Seneca Holmes as Tony Martin actually made the catch.
Mike Field, the punter, is going to get roughed on this play, and then he takes a shot at number 1, Charlie Pugh. Here's Mike Field now. Remember, he dropped the last snap, so Northwest is coming after this ball. Now they hit him, so they get running into the kicker.
Kicker.
Watch.
It's a first down.
Mike Fields letting a little frustration out. And Charlie Pugh, number 1.
You have to wonder if it was necessary to try to, when you're up with this kind of score, is it necessary to try to block a punt?
No, but they've been a punt blocking team. They pressure you the whole game, and they saw Mike Field drop the last punt, so they felt like they'd come after him. And that's a problem when you have a wet field of stopping at the point that you want to try to block the kick.
Well, it gives the Eagles new life. Guyton will pitch it again. It's Hawkins.
Greg Wayne's had a big game in the secondary. He gets blocked on this play, but he's made some big plays out of his corner position against the option in Heath Hawkins and caused the one fumble that Melvin Oates coughed it up on.
They pick up 3 on the play.
Nothing big on first down. Everything's a chore for this offense right now because they can't get any big plays on first down.
You have to wonder when they're going to try to open it up a little bit. Problems again with the snap. Again, a pass nearly caught in stride by Quez Rump. Went right through his hands.
Twan Young was back there. The defensive back that's had such a big year. All-American last year. They put him on the opponent's best receiver. Great special teams player. Brian Williams, 49, makes Leonard Guyton throw that ball early. Good coverage by Twan Young. Quez Rump, it goes right through the hands.
Twan Young is their best cover guy. He's got speed to burn. Recovered a block punt in the end zone last week to help his team reach this championship game. 3rd and 7. Guyton again the pressure, and he overthrows Rump.
No time to throw. He is being pressured by the entire front. And Aaron Crow, the middle linebacker, number 7 on a blitz. Leonard Guyton just doesn't have any time. Watch as he takes his steps back, the pressure of the pocket, and then Aaron Crow getting a hit on Leonard Guyton.
Aaron Crow really punished him on the play. That'll bring up 4th down, and we will see Mike Field once again. So they moved the chains a little bit. Tony Miles standing at his own 15 to receive the kick. Miles has problems with it. Picks it up. Running. Wait a minute, was the ball loose as he was brought down? No, he does have it. 24-6 is our score. And welcome back to Florence, Alabama. There you see the senior from Abilene, Texas, Zach Allen. Started 11 games this year. He's getting warmed up on the sideline as Grayson goes back to work. Derek Lane on the ground. Pulled down by the Eagles. First man there was Brad Hatcher.
Brad Hatcher with a nice tackle on Derek Lane. They get good push out of their front 4 on that play. They need a defensive stand here. They need to force a turnover. Carson Newman Sr. is 44-7 over the last 4 years. And they only have 10 seniors dressed.
2nd and 12.
Again, the coaches didn't think that this was going to be the team that would reach the title game as Bryson uses the play action, setting up a screen for Lane. Lane at crossing the 30-yard line before Montre Ford makes the tackle.
I've been impressed with the play calling of the Northwest, too. Good fake here by Chris Grayson.
There you see Jim Deaton.
Trying to keep Jim off balance with this play calling. He had a blitz coming from the secondary, and they hit him with a screen to Derek Lane.
5:35 to go here in the 3rd. 3rd and 3. There's Bryson. Guns it underneath. complete to Mark Moss, the big tight end. And he has enough for the first down.
Just an option play. Marcus Early, a safety, trying to jump Mark Moss, the tight end. He's number 82. He's just going to go down the field, find this pressure, and then hook away from the safety and make that catch against Marcus Early.
Moss, the sophomore from Smithville, Missouri. They say he's a great blocker. 3 catches today for 49 yards. First and 10. Under 5 to go here in the third. Option run by Grayson. He'll keep it, and he won't get much. Cortland Stiles making the tackle.
Number 42.
When I came out early in the stadium and I was walking down, Cortland Stiles' girlfriend was sitting in the bleachers. Now this is an hour and a half before the ball game. There's nobody here. It's pouring down raining. I walked over and I said, now you've got to be a great fan to be out here. And she said, well, Cortland Stiles is my boyfriend and I'm here to see Carson Newman win this football game.
That's love.
Or stupidity. I don't know.
Second and 10 for Grayson. Short pass complete to Ryan George. Michael Redwood will push him out. Stops the clock, at least for the Eagles' sake. Churchma trying to complete the overhaul today.
And there's never been a team go 15-0 in Division II to win the championship.
They will make history with a victory today. Grayson calling signals on 3rd and 4, and he's going down. Wait a minute. Strong. He stood up and completed it to Tony Miles. He was in the grasp, and that's one of the things that he can do at 6'4" and 225 pounds. He fought off Thomas Dixon, who is only just a 190-pound freshman linebacker.
Well, you like a quarterback that has presence. Thomas Dixon has him, the freshman linebacker, but he's not able to bring him down. You see the blitz, seems escape. It looks like he's going to go down. But the presence to throw the football to Tony Miles over the middle, an excellent play by the senior quarterback, Chris Grayson. That's impressive. And
you see that smile. He had that smile on all day yesterday. He and the rest of the Bearcats so happy about being here. They get the first down off the measurement. Let's check in with Chris Marlowe.
You know, as a high school quarterback in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, Chris Grayson dreamed of playing for the Wisconsin Badgers. Then he tore up his knee his senior year. The Division I schools stopped calling. In fact, most of the schools stopped calling. Northwest Missouri State, however, hung in there. And a graduate assistant named Eric Johnson gave new coach Milt Churchman the tape of Chris Grayson. Churchman liked what he saw, and Grayson was off to college in Maryville. His record in the last couple of years as a starter, pretty impressive, 26-1.
Daktronics Cosida All-American nominee this year. An All-American last year as we look at Derek Lane.
It's a great story because that Chris told her, because a lot of players get hurt or get lost in the recruiting process. And I can tell you, I've seen a lot of Division I teams this year that Chris Grayson could play for and played very well for.
He said the main reason that he liked Northwest Missouri was because it was a family atmosphere. After all their home games, Mike, all the players go over to one of the parents or one of the coaches' houses, and they bring food over and they just enjoy each other's company. These kids really enjoy being around one another.
And they watch ESPN, right?
Of course. Of course, as Grayson spins out of it, more pressure, and he'll keep it across the 40, passing the 35-yard line on his way to another first down, a 17-yard scamper before Burris pushed him out of bounds.
I don't know how many pro scouts are watching this game today, but you better start making plans to visit Northwest Missouri State University and check out Chris Grayson, because he's merits the NFL looking at him.
As we listen to the Superman theme, interesting to note one of Chris Geison's favorite TV shows is those old Superman shows. He loves it.
Trying to think who the actor's name was. That's gone.
Yeah,
Clark Kent.
As we go up the middle, there's Lane crossing the 20-yard line, and he's got another first down.
Steve Reeves. It just came through me through the truck.
Was that?
We got some Superman fans in the truck today.
Mike Gottfried, you've been Superman. Actually, the Superman today is, we have to give that award to Chris Marlowe. He's down there.
Of course, he's got an umbrella now. Let's don't get too carried away now. He's not down there in the rain. He's carrying an umbrella around.
Stepping around in puddles with his nice shoes. Hey, look, he's got somebody holding the umbrella for him.
This is my guy right here. This is my guy, Mark. I go nowhere without Mark. Thank you very much.
1st and 10. They go Lane again and again. This time he's got 8 yards. And this drive is heartbreaking for Carson Newman. They need a fumble or something here.
This, again, shows the dominance that Northwest has been able to show on Carson Newman. And everyone expected this kind of football game because Northwest is, many feel like it's the best team in Division II. And this Carson Newman team has played on heart.
Over 3,000 fans from Maryville, Missouri, small farming community. The university has 6,000 students. The town itself, 11,000. 2nd down and 4. As this is the 11th play of the drive, and again Lane picking his way as he comes close to another first down.
You got to credit the offensive line. Northwest, Steve Coppinger, who we had a conversation with last night, Sherman Wilderness, Eilers, Moss, Thompson or Pelding, done a nice job controlling the line of scrimmage in the run, giving Chris Greisen pass protection, and they've dominated this football game.
Had a chance to meet Steve Coppinger's parents, Tom and Virginia, last night. Coppinger tore his MCL off the bone and only missed 3 games. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he injured his knee in the first game.
3rd and 1 as he was shy of the first down, and Greisen will definitely get it as he dives behind his left guard, Chad Thompson.
We talked about the offensive line, the quarterback sneak by Chris Greisen. They get good movement on the defense. Watch as they push back the front. Pretty good job by, look like Killens getting underneath the block. That should be the end of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, they'll let the clock run on out. On this particular possession, this quarter, they were 5 for 5 on 3rd down, As the fans are jumping up and down. 24-6 is our score here from Florence, Alabama. We'll be back with the final quarter. Back in Florence, Alabama, Darren Horton along with Mike Gottfried and Chris Marlowe. 1st and goal to go from the 8. They'll pitch to Lane. He gets blasted hard by Killings. Wow.
A good hit by Cedric Killings coming down the line of scrimmage. We were talking about the Superman theme of Chris Greisen, that being his favorite show, and you got a Lane in this game. Not Lois Lane, but Derek Lane. And then I was just thinking that they score this touchdown, Chris Greisen can give Jimmy Olsen the story because this one's probably over.
Very nice, Coach. Very nice. 2nd and goal to go. But the Eagles not giving up anything as of yet.
Perry White, the editor, we got them all.
Gosh, you must have really watched that show.
No, never watched it.
Cohen in motion. Here's Greisen. Incomplete, looking for Miles. As we take a look at the numbers after the first 3 quarters.
We talked about weather in this ball game, and I think it had more of an effect on Carson Newman's running game than it did the passing game of Northwest Missouri. And that's because of the difficulty of running the option offense and being concerned about turning the football over.
Chris Carson, the quarterback, one of 7 who experienced the humiliation of that 0-11 season back in 1994, maybe realizing his dreams of winning the national title. He completes it to Lane.
Nice job defensively.
On the far side. Yeah, Burris was there. He did a great job.
Burris did a nice job. Played a little his freshman year. He's 3rd in tackles with 71 on this football team. Played that screen perfectly. Chris Carson rolling out to the right, and then the screen all the way back to Derek Lane. But Matthew Burris was the man on the spot. Make that play.
And they will come on and attempt a field goal. David Purnell. He gets it up. It's a low kick, and it is no good. It's far to the right side of the upright. 24-6. Northwest is in control.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 1998 NCAA Division II Football Championship is brought to you by Nike.
Complete underneath to Quez Rumpf as the senior Zach Allen has come into the ball game. The freshman Leonard Guyton sent to the bench. Allen the better passer, and obviously they're in a situation where they need to throw the ball.
Well, Darren, Carson Newman only had 11 yards in the 3rd quarter. And Leonard Guyton, it wasn't his fault. As you see him standing alone at the end, he really didn't get protection. Missed his last 6 throws.
Allen showing the touch as he connects with Quez Rumpf across the middle. Brian Sutton brought him down along with Daniel Keys, but not after they pick up a nice chunk of yardage and a first down, a 21-yard pickup.
And this is what you want out of your senior quarterback, to give you a spark, come in and hit some passes.
The other senior was looking on. Zach Allen goes to work. There you see Bryson.
I had Zach Allen in that game 2 years ago, and he played very well against Northern Colorado.
1st and 10. The Eagles trying to get a little spark from their senior. Allen throws it away as no one was open.
Well, you have to be concerned about whether Zach Allen has any movement at all with the knee injury that he's sustained in the ball game. Chris Marlowe talked about it a little bit earlier about his injury, and I would figure that Northwest is going to try to heat him up, try to blitz some linebackers, especially number 7, Aaron Crow.
Scott Bostwick said, we expect to see Zach Allen tomorrow, and he was right. There you see Crow. 2nd and 10. Out of the gun again. Stripped from behind. It's loose.
I think Zach Allen got that ball back.
Alan Buckwater was the guy who knocked it out of Zach Allen's hand.
Came right around the outside of the right tackle. And Alan Buckwater, number 87, tips the ball out of Zach Allen's hands. Zach Allen able, you can see, almost lost it, but he was able to get it right back.
Buckwater played tight end last year, and he switched over this year, so he's got a little more speed than your average DN.
And they play a lot of defensive linemen. They rotate their defensive linemen in and try to keep them fresh.
Again out of the gun for Allen. Blocked again, caught by Allen, and it's Buckwater again who's in his face.
Yeah, Alan Buckwalter's having a big ball game. Not being able to be blocked. 6'2" defensive end. He's going to come on a stunt. They had a cross charge, and he was unblocked. He got the towel off Zach Allen. He deflected the football. Zach Allen caught it for a loss.
Their normal starter over on that right side is Cole Sidwell, and he was injured last week. wasn't able to go. Mike Field on to boot it away. On 4th down, Tony Miles standing at his own 40. He drifts over, lets it bounce once. A lot of dancing by Miles as he's pulled down at the 37. 24-6 is our score. We'll be back. Back in Florence, Alabama, there you see Scott Bostwick, the defensive coordinator for Northwest Missouri State, still coaching, leading at 24-6. Still telling his players what they have to do as we see Miles going a little motion. Bryson with the play action. He's got all kinds of time as he drifts back, eludes pressure, rolls, complete. It's Lane pulled down by Burris.
A long way for no yardage. But again, Chris Grayson shows you his escapability. He can't sack him, even on this wet field, and he is able to move around.
Grayson's parents had a chance to meet them last night. Ron and Mary Grayson. We told you earlier about his brother who plays for Wisconsin. He's a linebacker. They'll be heading out to Pasadena to see the Badgers take on the Bruins in the Rose Bowl. 2nd and 11 out of the gun. It's Miles in motion. Handoff Lane. He gets up to the 40-yard line. William Hippolyte made the tackle.
Look at this, 18 yards in the second half for Carson Newman. And then again, they have not been able to establish the run. That's why Zach Allen's in the ball game to try to throw the football, see if they can exploit something on this Northwest defense.
The Bearcats have always done it in the 3rd quarter in this season, outscoring their opponents 162-37 in the 3rd quarter as we see Grayson go to work again out of the shotgun. 3rd and 6. Steps up in the pocket, complete to Lane. No. He bobbled it. And Carson Newman will get the ball back as the Bearcats will punt.
Lane's been a workhorse. He's run the ball very effectively, and he's caught the ball in the backfield. Great hands. He came into this football game with 24 receptions. Now he drops that football, but he had 5 catches for 90 yards against Northern Colorado, the team they had to beat to get the monkey off their back to get to this championship.
Jeff LeBlanc on to punt it again. Quez Rump standing at his own 25. Rump from the 20, a spin to elude a tackler, gets up to the 30-yard line, and that's where Zach Allen will go back to work. 24-6 here in Florence. Back in Florence, Alabama, the Bearcat faithful have hung in there all day. Allen out of the gun. He's got time, gets it to his running back, Heath Hawkins, who stays inbounds as he was ridden down by Johnny Jeffrey.
Well, you talk about bad weather for the players. How about our camera people today? John Sherrill has stood tall right there in this rain, and then on the other end there's John, a little higher, that's Kevin Ressler. Now he's a big Georgia fan, the #1 Georgia Bulldog fan right there, and he's showing you that #1 for the Bulldogs and Jim Donnan. They've done a great job.
They certainly have. Heath Hawkins is down on that previous play.
There's Mark.
These guys have done a fantastic job.
Wade Hewitt up there. Going to get them all on today, because without them we wouldn't have a ball game.
It doesn't happen.
In our truck.
It does not happen without those gentlemen.
You're so fortunate to have good, solid people.
There's Mike Babu. And I think Heath Hawkins.
They're a little heavier today too.
Yeah, they certainly are. Dwayne Crump.
Hey, Dwayne, how you doing today? Thanks for all your help, Dwayne. Carson Newman play selection. A good mix, but again, nothing big on the ground, and they have Northwest has not allowed them a big play.
Interestingly enough, 12 of the last 15 Division II national champions have run some form of the option, as Allen gets crunched by a couple of Bearcats led by Aaron Crow. Becker also in. Aaron Becker, the junior from Omaha.
Yeah, Aaron Crow just continues to make plays out of his middle linebacker position, and he leads a defense that allowed only 18.8 points per game this entire year, and with a good solid hit from the back of Zach Allen. They had 8 starters back on defense. They've outscored the opponents 629 to 263 coming into this ball game. Dominant.
They don't have enough for the first down as Aaron Becker rides Allen down to the turf. 7 minutes and 21 seconds left for this man to realize his dream. Mel Churchma in his 5th season. Before he got here, they didn't make many appearances in the playoffs.
0-11 in his first year to 15-0 this year. So it's been quite a climb.
Reminiscent of the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys in pro football when Jimmy Johnson reconstructed that club.
And Kansas State in college football with Bill Snyder.
Mike Field gets it off. Tony Miles, the man back as it rolls out of bounds at the 35. 24-6 is our score. Back in Florence, Alabama, Darren Horton, Mike Godfrey, Chris Marlowe bringing you the Division II National Championship game. 1st and 10. They pitch to Lane. Flag thrown on the play.
Well officiated football game. These guys have done a nice job.
A highlight of championship weekend here in Florence is the annual Harlan Hill Award Banquet honoring the Division II Player of the Year.
Tough act to follow. But he's right.
The winner of the 1998 Harlan Hill Trophy, Brian Shea from Emporia State.
Brian Shea, unbelievable statistics. 6,958 career yards rushing, 9,301 yards career all-purpose yards. What a stud.
We saw a lot of his highlights during college football.
Holds 12 NCAA Division II records, 5 of which transcend all divisions. As Bryson goes back to work, screening it to Lane. Lane racing up the middle of the field into first down territory as we send things down to Chris Marlowe.
All right, very happy to have with me George Lindsay, alias Goober, from the Andy Griffith Show and one-time star here at Florida Teachers College. Way back when. Florence State Teachers College. You were a blocking back and defensive end. Were you tough?
Yeah, I played right on this field, yeah. And I'm so happy to see they still play 11 to the side.
And you actually played with Harlan Hill, the great Harlan Hill.
I was the quarterback and the defensive halfback.
All right, let's take a play and we'll come right back.
It's Bryson again to Lane. He's ridden down by Killings as we go back down to Chris.
Continuing with George Lindsay, alias Goober, do you still see Andy Griffith or talk to him much? And what do you remember most about those days?
The checks. No, it was a great time in my life. The Griffith Show is, I think, Americana. I'm so happy to have been part of it.
14 million people watching every day, and you have your own parking space here, I'm told.
Yeah, what I have here is we're having the George Lindsay Film Festival. The second one this year, and Ernest Borgnine's coming to talk to us. So
cool.
We're very happy about that, and I'm very happy that they're having this game here, and we can all get to see Division II football.
All right, thanks a lot, Goober.
Here's Greisen trying to complete a pass underneath to Seneca Holmes, but it's incomplete. You talked about Superman earlier. That was my show, the Andy Griffith Show. Aunt B and Opie and
Goober and Gomer.
Barney Fife, Thelma, Floyd the Barber.
Yeah, had them all.
Aunt B. You have to be so happy for the people, not only from both of these schools, but here in Florence, Alabama. What a show they put on.
They did a great job. The band of North Alabama was on the field before the ball game at halftime. They were great.
Quez Rump, the man back, he'll let it roll. It goes inside the 15-yard line. We are 4 minutes and 30 seconds away from crowning a new Division II champion. The Bearcat Crazies on the verge of capturing the Division II National Championship. Still 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go as Zach Allen calls the signals.
Ball snapped too soon.
Yeah.
But this is the way. I was just thinking about that as the fans, our camera people had the fans of Northwest. This is what it's all about. You earn it on the field. This is the national championship. There's no taking this back. True champion right here.
Exactly. No debates here. 16 teams paired down to 2.
You guys can yell. No way. Cannot do that.
Donald Woodward, the referee, I think he needs
a battery.
A couple of batteries there. Carson Newman, second time they've made an appearance in this game, and the second time they come up empty. This will be the 5th straight year that they have lost to the eventual national champion.
And they'll be back, though, because Ken Sparks and his coaching staff do such an outstanding job. They'll get their team back here again. They didn't expect to be here. Very young football team, but a team that came together the second half of that Edinburgh football game.
We see two coaches that probably don't want to hear about a moral victory. They have nothing to be ashamed of. First and 10 from the 13. Allen out of the gun. He's got 5 receivers as he lofts it up. We're going to have pass interference as Wes Simmons knocked down Grant Cockrell.
Storyline of this ball game, Darren's been the turnovers. 3 by Carson Newman. Chris Greisen's had an outstanding ball game in a bad weather situation, 2 touchdowns. And the rushing of Carson Newman, they averaged 299 coming into this ball game and allowed just 63 today.
They go to the dive back. It's Hawkins. And he's close to another first down. He crosses the 50 down inside the 45-yard line as they move the chains.
Pete Hawkins had a big ball game against Slippery Rock, 22 rushing, 21 carries for 299 yards.
First time Carson Newman across the 50-yard line as Allen crosses down to the 30-yard line, but that was the first time that they've actually been in Northwest Missouri territory here in the second half.
Now you talk about a gutty performance. Now here's Zach Allen, had a knee injury, a little Nora Ryan game, played 1 play last week. Here he ducks under, now he runs for a first down. You can see the brace on his left leg, his left knee, and gets out of bounds. And that's exactly what the coach has said. He said he wouldn't accept the injury. He said, I'm going to play.
And he is not accepting the scoreboard either as he continues to exert lots of effort. Wide split on the offensive line. 4 receivers split out. Allen going up top again. Caught in stride and dropped. That was Ben Rozelle, who had the ball right in his hands, and he dropped it.
Ball thrown by Zach Allen, right on the money. Ben Rozelle just couldn't bring it in.
Oh. How disappointing is that for Zach Allen?
Right to his hand. Sometimes you lose concentration. Charlie Pugh got his hand up there, may have just lost sight of the football for just a second.
2nd down and 10. Again, the 4-receiver split for Allen, who will go out of the shotgun. That time he overthrew Quez Rump. And you see Grayson, the senior from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, has done it all this year.
Now I believe he's going to play in the Snow Bowl, which is an all-star game for Division II.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And then he'll be sure there's a lot of all-star games that would like to have him perform in it after seeing him today.
Third down and 10 for Allen. Across the middle, another overthrown pass, which was nearly picked off by Brian Sutton.
Well, he got hit too, Zach Allen. Alan Buckwalter, number 87, hit him. Wes Simmons, the linebacker, number 44, planted him. He just didn't get a chance to throw the football with any accuracy because he was on his back.
In case you joined us late, Wes Simmons' brother passed away in a car accident this summer, and he dedicated this season to his brother. Said he wanted to win it all in honor of his brother.
Wes Simmons has had a very big ball game for Northwestern.
Allen on 4th down, stepping up. Again, going to the end zone. And again, knocked down, incomplete. Charlie Pugh got a hand on it. Ben Rozelle, again, the intended receiver.
Ben Rozelle is open, but Charlie Pugh is going to get his left hand. The pump fake by Zach Allen, now rolling, trying to find a receiver, and takes a hit again from Buckwalter. But the left hand of Charlie Pugh deflects the football. And it's about 3:38 till celebration time here.
You see Pugh. 15-0. First team in the history of Division II to ever accomplish that feat. Play clock is down to 2, and they rush to get it off. It's Lane off tackle. Still on his feet, still pounding his way towards another first down. What kind of heart does this guy have?
Well, Derek Lane's had a big ball game. 6 foot, 205-pound seniors, caught the ball out of the backfield. And you can tell by his jersey, he's been on the grass a lot today.
He is what they call a football player.
It's the kind of game, kind of elements you like to play on the backyard with. Muddy field.
Fans from Maryville. It's a small farming community about an hour and a half north of Kansas City. As we mentioned before, 14 busloads of fans made their way down. Yesterday was actually their first winter graduation, and 250 graduates, after they accepted their diplomas, got on buses and came on down.
So Steve Coppinger said he's graduated and he's not there.
Berta goes in motion as they hand off up the middle to David Jansen. So now some of the reserves start to work their way in, get a little championship experience.
And the frustration, you can see it on the Carson Newman side.
You see the Eagle fans.
Getting to the big dance, but coming up short. But yeah, I can tell you from watching both these football teams today that Northwest is the better football team, the more experienced, the more senior dominated. And this Carson Newman team will be back.
2nd and 8. Bryson working the clock down. They hand it off underneath to Tucker Woolsey, who picks his way. There you see Simmons. What a story.
Just imagine what's going through Russ Simmons' mind.
There you see the freshman, Leonard Guyton. He will have plenty of opportunities in the future, but today he just couldn't get it done.
Didn't get a lot of help. They pressured in the passing game, never established a run.
Came in the 11th game after Zach Allen injured his ACL. Was able to lead them to a victory in that game as well as 3 playoff games, but today in the championship he comes up shy as they once again hand it off to Derek Lane. Tim Croft makes the tackle as the Gatorade bath comes down on the head coach, Mel Churchman.
Yeah, he doesn't feel a thing because he's soaked anyway.
Exactly. And the rain pours down from the sky as we are under a minute to go. The Bearcats, they beat Nebraska-Omaha in the opening round, took care of Northern Colorado in the second round, and then beat Texas A&M Kingsport to advance to the championship game. There's a timeout on the field. 24-6 is the score. Back in Florence, Alabama, Darren Horton along with Mike Gottfried and Chris Marlowe. We are 56 seconds away from crowning a new Division II champion. Jeff LeBlanc gets a kickoff. Punting it to Quez Rump. We'll let it sit at the 21-yard line. Chris Greisen and Mel Churchman. They did it together. Greisen was a redshirt back in 1994 when Churchman was 0-11. 7 players remained from that team. We had a chance to talk to them last night, and they said, we never thought we'd get here. At least not when we were 0-11. And how sweet it must feel today. Last year in the playoffs, they lost to Northern Colorado in a rainstorm on a last-second heartbreaking drive.
They had 6 turnovers in that rainstorm, and they practiced the other day in the rain here at Florence to get ready for this ball game.
1st and 10 for Zach Allen. Complete underneath one of the reserve wide receivers, Grant Cockrell. Now 30 seconds just left.
Well, the inability to run the football. 91 yards rushing, and Heath Hawkins, the star running back, was held to 35 yards on 12 carries.
Complete to Quez Rump, who played a fantastic ball game. Rump goes out of bounds to stop the clock. Mel Churchman, what a job he has done. They've beaten 6 ranked opponents. There have been other undefeated teams in Division II, but none have gone 15-0. Just 18 seconds left. As Zach Allen completes it to Hawkins, who runs out of bounds to stop the clock once again.
A great feeling for Mel Churchman. You talked about the 0-11, and to see the turnaround and talk to his players has to be a great feeling.
Red shirts, a lot of players have a strength program intact. They've built up to this moment. Complete to Rump, and this should do it. Northwest Missouri State. They are the national champions. Chris Greisen, the senior, has gotten it done. 24-6 is our final score as they carry the coach off the field. The senior from Sturgeon Bay gets it done. For Mike Godfrey and Chris Marlowe, I'm Darren Horton. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.